Welcome back, my friends, to Lo-Fi Lounge. I'm Chris LeRoy. We got films, we got music, we got interviews, and it all starts right now.
I realized that Vanessa Franco, Press Enterprise Vanessa Franco, has reviewed a number of your albums, and on one of them, in 2010, she said it was the best, and she named some of the top albums of that year, right?
Right.
She said, hands down, the album you guys had that year was the best pop album of 2010.
Yeah.
So guys, I think it's about time we hear what you guys can do. So Chris, what do you want to do first?
I would like to do Breakdown.
Breakdown. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yep. Let's do it.
Different kind of tension. You know there's runaways in the black are mothers of invention. I'm not gonna make it this time. I'm not gonna make it this time. I'm not gonna make time this time. Into my arms, break down. Into my soul, break down. Into my arms, break down. Into my life, in my life, my heart break down, my soul break down, my heart break down, into my life, in my life, break
The typical claim with any double album, and spawns a million different debates, be it the Beatles' White Album or the Clash's 3 albums, Sandinista.
Yeah.
You know, people, I always loved Joe Strummer post-Clash when they're both, he's very sad. He starts crying about the Clash breaking up, and he defends staunchly Sandinista, saying, people have these opinions. There would have been a better single album, or a better double album than a triple, or a better single album than a double, or a really great EP. But it's a record of what we were at that time,
Right.
and that's what I stick by.
And it's almost like it's the culmination of everything they had done up to that point.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe this is maybe this is his sanity stuff.
Project, one of the things that you had mentioned is just in its recording that there seems to be some sloppiness. Well, a lot of the material, he just sang and playing guitar and sent it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they overdubbed these things and then went overdub city with strings and
Right.
all sorts of these other elements, which would be typical in country music.
Sure.
So it wasn't like
Except he wasn't there.
wasn't there.
Right.
And you hear interviews of some of the people who played on it. You see these, really good Nashville players. Some of them couldn't even be in the room at the same time, so they were kind of going and playing their parts. And like the bass player was walking past the drummer, and he's coming out and he goes, "You're not going to believe what's in there."
Charlie McCoy.
Yeah, what's
Right.
what?
Kenny Buttrey. But then it's like he goes back to those Nashville guys that he's been using for the last couple albums, back to Blonde on Blonde, and yeah, he's just sending them the tapes, and by the time he sends it to him, he's pretty much done with this stuff, and he doesn't really play it live, does he?
No,
because he didn't really play live.
My
for a while.
favorite track from here is Copper Kettle.
Yes.
I've loved it. Just figured out recently I've been playing it wrong for 40 years or 50 years.
Okay.
But it is sort of, all things sit well with it. And yet that's one of the songs that he's never played live or ever since then.
Interesting.
And so I think it is this distance that he developed with his music, and he had made some pretty good inroads with John Wesley Harding. Some people maybe went after Nashville Skyline, but I know a lot of people just adore that album and adore the sound of that album.
It's different.
And people who never liked Dylan loved his voice for that album. And one of the things that washes into this just is him moving away from that voice. Some of it spills out into here, and then some of it is this voice that he was going to continue with that had nothing to do with it. So his original intention of trying to put together a covers album to please himself. I'm going to create something that's so different that maybe people won't like me, but I'm still trying to create something. And you get this kind of mismatch, maybe his intention, and then once he was done with the recording, he walks away and wasn't able to influence it again, influence the rest of those songs. A couple of the live things with the band and whatnot, you see there's this other sound. So that hodgepodge nature of it, I think he fully understood, but maybe didn't get to control to fruition at the end.
And like you said, with the comparison with the Clash, this was where he was at that time, even with the live stuff.
Oh yeah,
because he did a live Isle of Wight recording with the band.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a live album. They didn't end up releasing it. Kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
But if you hear a song like Rolling Stone, which is on here, where he's missing cues and he's messing up, it sounds different, because when that song first came out, it was a little more anger charged into it. And when you hear it on here, it's just kind of like a little more passing, it's not so much, it doesn't have that vitriol to it.
Sitting on a curb beside a gullible street, kinda living happy ever after. Man on the moon is up there laughing at me, and the clouds are bringing sure disaster. Lately I've been thinking about you, the love we found in our own. Good God, yeah, I don't care what they say about it. Going home. You know, in my hometown, those folks would put me down, and I had to try believing in something. When I hit this ground, I put the big roots down.
Former Colton resident Jim Messina is primarily known for his membership in such groups as Buffalo Springfield, Poco, and Loggins and Messina. But his musical career began right here in the Inland Empire. Messina's first musical influence was his father, Joe Messina. Jim says of his dad, "My father was a musician, a great player, much better than I am, and I was so inspired watching him play that I just had to do that." The second big musical influence on Jim Messina was surf guitar legend Dick Dale and his Fender Stratocaster guitar. Messina saw a number of Dick Dale's Inland Empire concerts in the early 1960s and walked away mesmerized. It was the overwhelming sound produced by Dale's Fender Stratocaster guitar and Fender amplifier setup that impressed the young musician. Messina reminisced about those days, saying, "I'd go to Dick Dale concerts and watch him play, and he was really the first one who had the machine gun sounding guitar, and I had to have one." So it was to Messina's great disappointment that when his mother bought him his first electric guitar, it was a Gretsch solid-body guitar with 2 pickups and not a Fender Strat. One day Messina was in an LA pawn shop and he saw a beat-up Stratocaster on display. The pawn shop dealer offered the Strat to Messina if he would trade in his Gretsch and throw in an extra $100. Messina accepted the deal and took his guitar home. Feeling bad that he traded in a new guitar for a beat-up Stratocaster, he decided he had to clean it up before showing it to his mother. So the first thing he did was to get a new paint job. Having no other choice, he took the guitar to a local Earl Scheib dealer and asked them if they would paint it. They told him they could do it for the regular price of painting a car. And so for $29.95, they painted the guitar a shiny pearlescent white, just like Dick Dale's guitar. Messina was now ready to conquer the music world. The Messina family moved to Colton in 1962, and that summer he formed his first Inland Empire band, the Boutonnieres. This band's first regular gig was at the pool house of the Grand Terrace Country Club, where the parents sipped martinis while the Boutonnieres played for free Shirley Temples.
Say you hear the breaking of 1,000 hearts. I can hear 1,000 beating on their mark. Am I dreaming? Yes, I'm dreaming. That's a start. You say you hear the mountain coming tumbling down. I can hear the rhythm of the solid ground. Am I dreaming? Yes, I'm dreaming. That's a start. Yes, I'm dreaming, that's a start. Yeah. Though the skies were darkened like an English rain, in a house the sun is gonna rise again. Am I dreaming? Yes, I'm dreaming. Are we dreaming? Yes, we're dreaming. Come on, dreaming. Keep on dreaming. That's a start. That's a start. That's a start.
Hey folks, thanks for hanging out at the Lo-Fi Lounge. We'll see you all next week. Wait, we got one more thing.
That night, Radio 63. 4 o'clock, on the band had no choice, had to surrender, smile.
so much.